Protecting my peace for so long, a little too good, now I'm solo. Watching reruns of the same shows. Almost every party I'm a no-show. Even with green lights I don't go. Never been sure, no I don't know. How does everybody else let go of the ego? Don't go out nearly as much as I should. Barely know the way around my neighborhood. I'm ruminating, I feel no good. Not living life like I know I could. Like I know I could. Like I know I should. Like I know I could. Like I know I could. Like I could. If you would show me, yeah. If you would show me, yeah. If you would show me, yeah. I spent so much time daydreaming. Somehow I don't know how I'm feeling. Don't know who's the real me. Might need my help and I thought I needed. I can see it. Need more healing. More believing. Less deceiving. I don't go out nearly as much as I should. Barely know the way around my neighborhood. I'm ruminating, I feel no good. Not living life like I know I could. Like I know I could. Like I know I should. Like I know I could. Like I know I could. Like I could. If you would show me, yeah. If you would show me, yeah. If you would show me, yeah. I might need therapy too. Help dilute all the bad news. Cause I just can't deal with the lose-lose situations you have to go through. I think I need therapy now. Recycling all the same doubts. Heard it a million times. Cause I tell myself all the same lies. I might need therapy too. Help dilute all the bad news. Cause I just can't deal with the lose-lose situations you have to go through. I think I need therapy now. Recycling all the same doubts. Heard it a million times. Cause I tell myself all the same lie. Don't go out nearly as much as I should. Barely know the way around my neighborhood. I'm ruminating, I feel no good. Not living life like I know I could. Like I know I could. Like I know I should. Like I know I could. Oh, if you would show me. If you would show me, yeah. If you would show me, yeah. I had a dream last night. Did everything I never do in real life. I stepped into a room, told everyone to be quiet. Cause I had something to say, blew everybody away. Wear whatever I want. Dressed in a gown, everybody's like, wow, where you going? Nowhere special, just going to the store. I think I'd have it all, tell you I have even more. Picking a plate, being a plate, she is unruly. Never seen her like this, didn't think it existed, no truly. Don't get in her way, she's not here to play, she'll get moody. But don't mistake this girl for being me. Cause these are dream rules. This is someone else, I'm not myself, no. Cause these are dream rules. problems disappear. She could tell you the things you wanna hear. She could read your mind and that you could believe all the little lies to tell yourself at night. Never get it wrong, it's always right. Making the plate, being the plate. She is on her own. Never seen it like this. Didn't think it existed, no truly. Don't get in the way, she's not here to play. She'll get moody. But don't mistake this girl for being me. 'Cause these are dream rules. This is someone else, I'm not myself, no. 'Cause these are dream rules. This is someone else, I'm not myself, no. Living in my dreams, 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 living in my
We're in trances, going off to different places, different planets. Watch your aura pass me by, losing balance. What if we run out of time and second chances? Empty-handed. You like the fast life, you like to drive and get down and dirty, act like the bad guy. You want some love, you like when you feel like calling at midnight. You got the best of me, you got me losing sleep. I've been hopeful, baby, I was hoping maybe that you cross my path. I've been sinking lately, and it's hard to move. Think I'm stuck on you. We're in trances, going off to different places, different planets. Watch your aura pass me by, losing balance. What if we run out of time and second chances? Empty-handed. I wonder, would you love me better if I go? I'm not home. I wonder, can we trace the stars above to let us know? I'd go. We only got this life, no guarantees and stars align. Follow your passion trail and try to keep an open mind. Hiding it by myself, no guarantees you'll find me. Said if it's faith you'll find me, leaving the past behind. We're in trances, going off to different places, different planets. Watch your aura pass me by, losing balance. What if we run out of time and second chances? Empty-handed. I wonder, would you love me better if I go? I'm not home. I wanna know, can we trust the stars above to let us know? I'd go. Whoa.
Ceiling fan blowing cold breeze on your body. I can't tell you really what it is, but you got it. Makeup in the morning, you got dresses in your closet, but you grab them tight, you in love with being modest. You a move body giving interviews, I'm just saying I'm amused, but you ain't even flexing. And you cool, tatted up, cover wounds, different vibe, you know improved, but you ain't even flexing. And you ain't gotta try too hard. Number one fan, your side, you applaud. Got me think about inside the walls. Words cut deep, it's like a sword. Making me better, you hotter than pepper. You with a big stepper who chasing a cheddar. All of these women, they not on your level. You like a mix of business and pleasure. You a move body giving seen the views. I'm just saying I'm amused, but you ain't even flexing. And you cool, tatted up, cover warm, different vibe, you new ain't proof. But you ain't even flexing. 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 But you ain't even flexing.
Peace, 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 everyone. Peace, everyone, as everyone is coming on. Peace, Brother Darvis Baylock. Peace, Brother Elwood Evansville. Peace, everyone that is coming on. Peace, everyone that is in tune. I want to give all praises to Allah, honors to Solar Divine Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Honors to each and every one of you who is able to make this evening. Definitely going to be going in. Always honors to my husband, Brother Richard Neal Bay. As we are going in this evening, we're going to be talking about this Africa problem, right? Because this Africa issue has been a issue that has been pushed on us. And when I say us, I'm talking about the Americans, right? Every so many years, we get renamed, we get retitled, Negro, Black, African American, right? We get retitled. So definitely, we're going to go over, just some sources this evening, really get into it, break it down. I know how we do. I know it's been a long time since we have been together here on Moving Without Motion, but nothing has changed as far as, not being able to, come on and get this working. But definitely, we're going to continue to get this working. If anything, everything has continued and is changing even for the better for us all. So, if y'all can hear me, put some sevens in the chat if y'all can hear me. Put some sevens in the chat if y'all can hear me. All right. Peace, Brother Darvis. I'm gonna put the link out in a minute. I'm gonna just go through some of these sources, and then I'm gonna put the link up. I'm gonna change this. Change this screen for a minute. How y'all doing this evening? Pray all is well with you all. Trying to figure out how to change this screen. Here we go. Let me know if the okay. All right, Brother Elwood, you said awesome. Brother Darby, you said do your thing, Queen. Got my daughter listening tonight. I'm glad to see you back at it. Definitely. I'm well, Brother Elwood, you know, just working as usual, getting back into the groove of things. So we're going to talk about how, you know, a lot of this started out with this period that we're still constantly living through. You know, it's kind of like a simulation at the end of the day, where this period of Reconstruction, now they say that it ended, but we can definitely see Reconstruction has not ended. It's still continuing. And as it continues, more and more of us are either waking out of the amnesia stage and coming into who we really and truly are, or we have been honored to have parents and loved ones and community around us that as the children are being born, right, they're coming directly into it. They don't even get the Reconstruction. All right, so what is Reconstruction? We're going to go to the etymology of what Reconstruction is. In the etymology of Reconstruction, we can see that we definitely have been put under we've been put under that spell, y'all. All right. So here we are, Reconstruction, 1791. Action or process of reconstruction. Noun of action to go with reconstruct. In the U.S., in U.S. history, usually with a capital R. Now, you know, Moorish Science Temple of America, we see capital R. And the capital R is inverted or turned upside down for us. That means Rex, R-E-X, right? The king. That's the king's signature or sigil or sign, right? It says usually with the capital R. It has been used from 1865 in reference to the process lasting until about 1870. But like I said before, we're still in the Reconstruction period, right? We're constantly being given Reconstruction, and one of the main tools that is used for Reconstruction is the news. They got a new tool, which is the AI, the artificial intelligence, that is the new kid on the block for the Reconstruction, but it has not stopped. It has definitely not stopped. All right, so we was going in on this in Sunday school the Sunday before last on, this is the reason why we're going through what we're going through is the Reconstruction period that has never stopped. Says by which the states which had ceded were restored to the rights and privileges of the Union. Were restored to the rights and privileges of the Union. Now we know that this union, right, was a union that put us into enslavement. This union put us into enslavement. Shout out to I Am That I Am 777. Peace. Welcome. Right? It put us in this union of enslavement. And so when we begin to look at slavery and we talk about slavery and the reconstructed version of slavery, it does not make logical sense. It doesn't make logical sense at all. Where you have millions of these slaves, and these slaves allow for first to be taken from their home, and their kings and their queens ain't coming out looking for them. Like, no, the family is not coming to look for them, and no, there's none of that. They're not sending any correspondence. And when we're talking about hundreds of years, they've never sent any correspondence from Africa, right? Because they said 16, so they saying the 1619 project. So we talking about from 1619 all the way up until 1865, there was no African kings and queens who came over here and was looking for their subjects. It just wasn't a thing, right? Because it just did not happen that way. All right. So this reconstructed period, it tells us that we united, or we became a part of the union, and becoming a part of the union. Now we're under the rights and privileges of the union. Now the rights and privileges of the union is never been for the best of our good as the Americans, the only Americans. Like, everybody else are Americans who came over here, right? We're Americans because we are from here. We're not from anywhere else but here. So it says, and it had been used in the U.S. during the American Civil War, what they call the Civil War, in reference to the anticipated reconstruction of the Union. Hence, for a time in American English, reconstructed, altered by reconstruction. So yeah, it's telling us that the history has been altered, right? They're always letting us know the truth. It's just up to us to actually catch it and realize that we've been lied to, and to get ourselves up from out and stop participating in furthering the lies. So we're going to now go over to the Lost Cities of North and Central America by David Hatcher Childress. Now, I read this before, right, when he was going in. I've read this a couple of times before. But we're going to go back to it again because it definitely is telling the truth. Like, we say that we honor, right? We say that we honor, such and such because these are our so-called master teachers and, things of that nature. But do we really honor them? Is that what we're really doing, or are we just saying it because It sounds good. So this is from the Lost Golden Books of the Mayas. The Lost Golden Books of the Mayas. Right? And before I get into the Lost Golden Books of the Mayas, I want to really quickly go into what we're going to be really getting into this evening, which is this whole Africa thing. You know, the lies, the problem with Africa, and do we really fit in that framework? So when they talk about Africa, they're really talking about us, or is it something that we have attached ourselves to? Right? So I'm gonna go to our Holy Quran of the Moorish Temple of America, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Jurali, by the guiding of his father God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his father God Allah. And we want to go over to chapter 48. I want to go to chapter 48, which is the end of times and the fulfilling of the prophecies. And I want to start off at verse 5. I'm going to go to verse 4. It says, the Moorish Temple of America is a lawfully chartered and incorporated organization. Any subordinate temple that desires to receive a charter, the Prophet has them to issue to every state throughout the United States, etc. Verse 5 reads that the world may hear and know the truth that among the descendants of Africa, there is still much wisdom to be learned in these days for the redemption of the sons of men under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Now, verse 5 does not say that we are the descendants of Africa. It does not say that at all. But this is what is being taught. This is what has been taught. And this is the current teaching in a lot of temples. And the teaching is in error, because reading comprehension is a must when we are reading and we are teaching. It says that among, right? It says among the descendants of Africa, there is still much wisdom to be learned in these days. All right? It doesn't say that we're descendants of Africa. It doesn't say that. But again, the Africa problem is our problem. Right? So let's get into the Lost Golden Books of the Mayas. It says Africa was largely depopulated after the last pole shift. It was depopulated after the last pole shift about 10,000 years ago. 7,000 to 8,000 years ago, Negroes from Central America migrated into the area around Nigeria and began to populate the area of Africa. Right? It says, meanwhile, Dravidians had settled in Abyssinia in southern Arabia, while Asians began settling Madagascar and East Africa. The Bushmen And Hottentots are the remnants of these people. The world is one long history of migrations, invasions, and unfortunately of war and cruelty. Central America, like Asia, apparently had just about every race in the world living here at one time or another. I read the James Churchwood books on Mu. I then wanted to the traditional academic level are the books edited by Ivan Van Sertima of Rutgers University in New Jersey. His books, African Presence in Early America and African Presence in Early Asia, are filled with articles and photos that show without a doubt that Negroes have lived literally all over the world, including the ancient Americas. While Van Sertima does not bring into such unorthodox theories as a lost continent in the Pacific, he is clearly of the belief that Negroes in ancient times developed many advanced civilizations and lived all over the world. We glance at one of the massive heads in the park. On his head was a strange leather helmet, making the man appear like a football or a rugby player. Walter was reading The Ancient Kingdoms of Mexico by the British historian Nigel Davies. As well-known critic of theories of ancient seafaring, Davies flatly rejects any theories of Phoenicians, Egyptians, Chinese, Vikings, African settlers, or anyone else ever reaching Mexico by boat. Yet, unlike some historians, he readily admits that Olmecs are Negroes. His explanations of Negroid Olmecs in Mexico is interesting. Walter pulled out a well-worn paperback and began to read from The Ancient Kingdoms of Mexico, page 26-27, insofar as Negroid features are depicted in pre-Columbian art. A more logical explanation surely exists that does not depend upon flights of fancy involving African seafarers. Negroid people of many kinds are to be found in Asia as well as Africa, and there is no reason why at least a few of them should not have joined the migration bands who came across the barren land bridge that joined Northeast Asia and Northwest America for so many millennia. Small men with Negroid features were the aboriginal inhabitants of many lands facing the Indian Ocean, including India itself, the Malay Peninsula, and also the Philippines, where they still exist today. One needs to go no further. Manila International Airport to find proof of their existence. Nearby stands the Museum of Philippine Traditional Cultures. Facing the entrance is a wall covered with photographs of unfamiliar faces, in marked contrast to the typical Mongoloid Filipinos of today. Many of these are dark-skinned aboriginals known as Negrotos, who now live scattered along the east side of the mainland of Luzon. They mostly have thick lips and black skins. The Huitas of Ceylon are another of these Negroid aboriginal groups. It is therefore not in the least surprising that such elements should have joined the ranks of these early migrants who crossed the Bering Bridge before it sank beneath the waves. Their presence offers a more logical explanation of Negroid features than any other. Therefore, even if one accepts on certain premises that Olmec art is based on the portrayal of true Negroids, this does not warrant the conclusion that such people were Africans. It is perfectly possible to find individuals of Tabasco today, who have faces not unlike those of the colossal heads, whose features were somewhat recall the large stone carvings of the Cham culture of Cambodia, another country that still has Negroid Aboriginal population. The logic of these experts is curious, I remark. While it seems impossible to them that ancient people would have traveled anywhere by boat, how does Davies suppose that Negroids got to the Philippine Islands? Did they walk across the ancient land bridge at the same time that the Bering Strait was walked across? Does Davies suppose that the myriad islands of the Pacific were populated by people walking across ancient land bridges? Hardly. While these experts are forced to admit the Polynesian and Micronesians colonized remote islands in Pacific, many of them tiny dots of land thousands of miles from anywhere, they cannot admit that seafarers in ancient times could similarly find such huge continents as North and South America. In the same vein, Madagascar was colonized by Malaysians traveling the entire length of the Indian Ocean to a remote corner of Southeast Africa. Yet ancient seafarers with sophisticated navies, such as the Phoenicians, could never have duplicated such a feat. The bizarre logic defies the imagination, yet is the dogmatic primitive seafarers with the dogmatic truth of today's universities. Essentially, the argument is that primitive seafarers with a double canoe, some flashing line, chickens, and bananas can explore and settle remote ocean islands, but not more civilized nations with bigger ships and larger navies. That ancient people may have come by boat to the Americas, or from the Americas for that matter, rather than walking through Siberia, Alaska, the entire North American continent, is a totally untenable theory proposed by unscientific nuts. Right? We're going to leave it right there. Because when we break this down, we do the knowledge to it. They're saying, Ivan Van Sertima, he built on the presence here in America and the presence of us in Asia, right? And he said, like many others are saying, that we didn't come from anywhere. We was already here. We weren't flown in. We were grown in, right? Peace up, brother Jose Ill. Shout out to His Majesty the Magnificent Ill. Slamore. Peace. We definitely back. Make sure y'all hit that like button, share, and subscribe. So here we are. Right, this 1619 project. Because the 1619 project is what they claim is the beginning of so-called African slavery in America. And so we talk about this so-called African slavery in America. We see that we were enslaved and we still are being held as prisoners of war. And all we got to do is get out. And it reads, slavery's bitter roots in 1619, 20 and odd Negroes have arrived in Virginia. Now, we've all heard the story of these so-called 20 and odd Negroes. And these so-called 20 and odd Negroes are supposedly the ones who populated all of us today. Right? These are supposed to be our ancestors, so they say. And these 20 odd Negroes are supposed to have helped to create these the billions of so-called Africans today here in America. Right, so this is from the Washington Post. The first documented Africans arrived in the English-speaking colony of what will become Virginia arrived in August 1619 on the White Lion, a Dutch man of war ship carrying enslaved cargo from the west coast of Africa. The arrival of the ship was reported by colonist John Rolfe, who wrote, about the latter end of August, a Dutch man of war of the burden of 160 tons arrived at Point Comfort. The commander's name, Captain Jope. He brought not anything but 20 and odd Negroes, which the governor and Cape merchant bought for victuals. And the 20 and odd Negroes had been captured in 1619 from the kingdom of Dongo in Angola. They were packed with more than 350 enslaved Africans aboard the Sao Raio Batista, a Portuguese slave ship that set sail from the coast of Africa, bound from what then was called Veracruz on the coast of Mexico. Now, this is the problem. Out of 350, you only got some 20 and odd bodies. That's crazy work. I mean, diabolical. We're talking about out of 350. Says the ship was overcrowded, said James Horn, the historian who serves as the president of the Jamestown Rediscovery Foundation. The Jamestown Rediscovery Foundation. So that means you didn't rediscover something that was already there. It suffered horrible mortality on the voyages to Veracruz. How do you know? What's your proof? Inquiring minds want to know. We want to know. It says in the middle of the voyage on the high seas, the ship was attacked by 2 English pirate ships, the Treasurer and the White Lion. Hoping to steal gold, instead they found human cargo. Wow. So let's go to the Dongo or the Congo. Let's look at the river. Right? When we look at the river, right, the Congo River, formerly also known as the Zaire River. This ain't even the real Congo River. I'm going to say it again. This ain't even the real Congo. So if this ain't even the real Congo River, then where's the real Dongo? Dongo and Congo is the same. Where's the real Dongo? It says that it is the second largest river in Africa, short only than the Nile, as well as the third largest river in the world by discharge volume, following the Amazon and Ganges River. The Amazon, right here in America, and the Ganges River in Asia. So if the original Congo River is not over there, then where is it at? Where is it at? Could it be right off of Congo, Pennsylvania? What's crazy is Congo, Pennsylvania name is older than the so-called Congo River. It is older than the so-called Congo River. Make that make sense? Like, we don't understand it. But this is what they're claiming. This is what they claim to be true. So we look at the etymological geography being a classified list of terms of most frequent occurrence. Right? We look at this by T.A. Gibson. Right? We're talking about the river, which means Rio, right? And we look at the Rio Negro, right, of the Amazons. Rio Negro. That's what the prophet was talking about. Rio Negro. When we look at the Rio Grande, right, which is supposedly in Africa as well as America. This Rio Grande, this Grand River. Right? It says that the Rio Grande in the United States, or the Rio Bravo del Norte in Mexico, also known as Posogo and Tigua, and Tabati in Navajo, is one of the principal rivers along the Colorado River in the southwestern United States and in northern Mexico. The length of the Rio Grande is 1,896 miles, making the fourth longest river in the United States and in North America by main system. It originates in the south central Gulf of Mexico. The Rio Grande drainage-based watershed has an area of 182,000 square miles, which is 472,000 kilometers square. So we look at the map of how far this river travels. It travels all the way up here. Travels all the way up here in Colorado, and then goes down. So we're talking about all the way up here in Colorado and goes all the way down here into Mexico. all the way down here to Mexico. And look where it ends. Look where it ends. It ends right here in Matamoros. Matamoros. Is that a coincidence? Is it a coincidence that the fourth largest river here at home in America travels from Colorado and it spills out into the Atlantic Ocean right here at Matamoros? I'm going to put the link in the chat. If anybody wants to jump on, you can. I'm going to keep teaching. Again, shout out to everyone who is in attendance. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. So we're going to get into this book, America's Ancient Civilizations. We're going to show more proof of how Africa is this problem that we got to deal with. Like, we can't hide from the problem. We got to deal with the problem. Again, this is America's Ancient Civilizations. If you want a copy of this book, go into Mighty Networks, click on the Book Nook group, and you'll be able to download a copy of this book for your own research purposes. All right, so it reads, the Mayan architecture is perhaps the most striking feature of their civilization. Is so distinctive that it is recognizable anywhere. For some reason, perhaps to render the structures more impressive, or perhaps to protect them from the inundations, the temples and palaces were built upon the summits of artificial hills or mounds of stone and rubble known as cusps, which were usually higher than the building itself. The Mayan buildings were constructed by a stepping-in method and were therefore rarely over 1 story in height, but this shortcoming was often overcome by erecting a building in the usual way and then adding to the height of the mound in its rear until it reached the roof level of the first structure. Then a second building was constructed on this so that the effect was of a 2-story edifice. It says, by again adding to the height of the mound and building of another structure, the appearance of 3 or 4-story buildings was obtained. In nearly every case of the roof of the building was stopped by a high on often roof cone or stonework or wood or stucco. Often I got everybody calling me. Often, let me see where I was at. Often ornate roof cone of stonework, wood, or stucco, often as high or higher than the building itself. so that the actual edifice, although low and squat, had the appearance of being high and imposing. Another typical feature of Mayan architecture is the stucco work, often made in molds like our modern concrete, or usually modeled in striking and elaborate designs of human figures, of geometrical designs, scrolls, and various animal heads. So hard and enduring was the stucco that it almost indistinguishable from stone, and often has been mistaken for stone sculptures. Regardless of whether actual stone or stucco were used, the elaborate sculptures, and carvings of the buildings are their most striking features. Everything from the largest blocks of stone to the smallest was sculptured, carved, or covered with glyphs. The style and type, however, varied greatly according to the locality. In the more northerly areas, bas reliefs were the favorites. In Honduras, human figures and cataractes predominated at Copan, once the metropolis of the Mayas. There are such deeply undercut bas reliefs that they appear like sculptures in the round about to be cut from the rock. And there are buildings and depictions that are a combination or mixture of all. Probably the finest of all known Mayan buildings, if not the finest example of prehistoric architecture in the world, is the great temple of Philatelic Cross, a Polinique in Chiapas, Mexico, with its numerous great rooms with their stepped-in arched ceilings. At the double-sloped roofs surmounted by an enormous roof cone of carved stonework, the temple is the most striking and imposing structure. But its most usual feature of the subterranean hallways and apartments with their stone altars. Like Pachacamac in Peru, Polinique, discovered by Calderon in 1774, was a sacred or holy city and contains 18 magnificent temples in addition to 20 other large buildings. Being a sacred or holy city of sculptures and decorations on the buildings are all of religious character, and there are no carvings or paintings depicted warriors, battles, kings, or similar subjects. Chichen Itza, now so far as the thousands of tourists, was also a holy city and was dedicated to Kukulkan, or the plum serpent god, identical to Quetzalcoatl of the Aztecs. Here, the Temple of the Jaguars is perhaps the most outstanding temple of Mayan architecture and surpasses all other known prehistoric American buildings in the beauty of its design. Its elaborate frescoes and carvings, in its coloring. This is what some of them look like. It says, as is the case with the other temple of the city, the main entrance is flanked by enormous carved snake gods, with the bodies and heads of rattlesnakes, originally and in restoration. These and the entire front of the buildings of the high roof cone of open stonework were painted in red, green, and white in sacred colors. Red, green, and white in sacred colors. Of the plum serpent. Red, green, and white sacred colors of the plum serpent. Right, so we've seen this red, green, and white on flags with a serpent and several flags before. Right, showing us that this is all a part of what is known to be the Mayan, right? The Mayan or the Mayas, right? Its culture and the aspects of its culture, right? So some of the peace talk builds Islam. Some of the flags that we have seen with this red, green, and white with the serpent is the Mexican flag, right? Right, so we look at this Mexican flag. Let me pull it up here. So we can look at it. Right, this is on the flag, and the flag is red, green, and white. We see it right here with the serpent. Right, there is another flag where we also see the representation. Like literally, if we would do a side by side, we would say, okay, this is the same exact flag. We would say it's the same exact flag. And this flag on the seal of the flag, it's the same flag. But it's hidden in plain sight, or it has been hidden in plain sight. And this is the flag of Illinois. The flag of Illinois. Right, and it says Union National Sovereignty State. Union National Sovereignty State. And it is the same representation of the flag of Mexico, which is the same representation of, going back to the plum serpent that we've seen here in the book, Ancient American Civilization. Now we know Prophet Noble Drew Ali put us on to New Mecca. But could Mecca and Maya be synonymous? Right, so what does Maya mean? Right, so Maya we know is a dream, an illusion. Right, but it also represents, in the Hindu teachings, it's the goddess of wealth, fortune, power, prosperity. Right, in the Maori languages, Maya means courage or bravery. Right, in Arabic, what does Maya mean? Right, doesn't it mean water in Arabic? It means God's servant, pretty woman in Arabic. And in Mecca, we find in the Arabic, we know Mecca means the holy city or the holy place. So the holy city of Mecca, that's surrounded by what? The water. The holy city of Mecca that's surrounded by water is where? Isn't it Chicago? Then Prophet Noble Drew Ali tell us that this is our new Mecca. Right, the place where you have union, national sovereignty, state. The holy city or the holy place surrounded by water. Right, if we go back to ancient American civilization, we read right here, says, I must be admitted, however, that we have accumulated a vast amount of well-established facts in regard to the cultural remains. Says of the Mayan civilization. We know that there were two distinct stages or eras known as the Old Empire, Old Mecca, and the New Empire, New Mecca. And we know much in respect to the migrations of the people. Well, how did the people migrate? The river system. Up and down the rivers. Didn't Prophet Noble Drew say that we were already here in America up and down the Mississippi? Don't you understand that the Mississippi is not just one river? The Mississippi is all of the rivers connected to so many rivers. Let me see if I can pull up that map. So many rivers that's connected to the Mississippi River. Okay, I got it. The different river tributaries that's connected to the Mississippi River. So look at all of these rivers that's connected. All these rivers are connected because this is the original highway that we use, and expressways, the rivers. Islam, brother Sidney Wardell L, welcome. That's right. Talk builds in the Colorado River. I'm sure. Yes, we definitely did travel. This is how we travel. We travel upon the rivers. Right? We're not named Moors just to be named Moors. Moors, we moored and still are. Mooring. So as we are the holy city surrounded by the water, and this holy city, right, we talk about this civilization of the old and the new empire. Right? Known as the old empire and the new empire. Or the old world and the new world. And we know much and respect to the migrations of the people, their religion, costumes, wars, and games. Although we ordinarily speak of the people of the Mayan Empire as Mayas, yet they belong to numerous races and tribes. Although we know them to be Mayas, we are a part of numerous races or tribes. The most important of these were the Quiche Maya and Lacadomes Maya, and the Shis pronounced Shius. All three of these races still dwell in Yucatan, southern Mexico, and Guatemala. In their physical characteristics, their dialects, and their life and the customs, they are very distinct. The Lacadomes, who are brown-skinned and rather tall for Indians of the tropics, live in scattered villages in the forest-clad mountains of Chapayas in northern Yucatan. They are shy, suspicious. The prophet called the Moors. What did the prophet call the Moors? And the prophet say that the Moors are a very suspicious people. Said that they are suspicious of strangers and rarely visit the larger towns. They depend mainly upon agriculture and hunting. But formerly, when Chilique gum commanded a high price, they carried on a large trade with the Mexicans, and today they do considerable lumbering. The Quiches are scattered over most of Yucatan, southern Mexico, and Guatemala, where there are many tribes and sub-tribes. Where there are many tribes and sub-tribes. Among them are the true Quiches, the Caquiquas, the Zutagils, Phillips, and Chachacolis, all speaking dialects of the Maya language and having similar arts, customs, and industries. But they are easily distinguishable by their costumes and by the designs of their beautifully hand-woven textiles. In color, they vary from pale naturist to light brown, and many of them, especially those in Mexico, have high sloping foreheads, the receding chin, and large beak-like nose, so typical of the figures of the ancient Mayan sculptures. In Guatemala, they practically control the smaller industries, the markets, produce, pottery, woodenware, basket and furniture, textiles, and poultry, and many other business and trade are in the hands of the Indians. In fact, Guatemala is basically and economically Maya Indian, and it is largely the Indians in their colorful, picturesque garments that attract the tourists, for without them as drawing cards for the tourist trade in Guatemala would be of little importance. In Yucatan and Chiapas are most numerous. They are laborers, kitchen gardeners, lumbermen, and keepers of small shops and eating places. They are the artisans and mechanics and taxi drivers and the streetcar conductors. In fact, they are everywhere, and while many of mixed blood, there are thousands who are pure Indian. Although the women adhere to their native dress, which varies in pattern and ornamentation with the tribe, and locally these are not as striking of color as those of Guatemalan Mayas, but consistent of a long cotton skirt and loose sleeveless blouse, more or less covered with beautiful embroidery and floral designs. Right? So this cotton, when we get into this cotton, cotton originates here in America, right? Down in Alabama, at one time you had the kings of cotton going all the way from Alabama to Texas, all the way up into the Carolinas. Right, that's a part of this old world or this old empire trade of cotton in or with the Mayas. All right, so let's go to Guatemala, right? Because we're talking about Guatemala. So we're gonna go get into Guatemala. Guatemala being the mother of Buddha. Right? And she is Mahamaya, the mother of Guatemala, Buddha. Because Guatemala or Guatemala Buddha is the name. Guatemala Buddha is the son of Maya, the mother. That's how you get the word Guatemala or Guatemala. It says Mahamaya, the mother of Guatemala Buddha, she was the wife of Raja Shuddha Dhanaya. According to the Buddhist legend, Mahamaya dreamed that a white elephant with 6 tusks entered her right side. Which was interpreted to mean that she had conceived a child who would become either a world ruler or a Buddha. After 10 lunar months, feeling that the time of birth was near, she went to the Lumbini Grove outside of the city of Kaplavusta, where she stood upright and held onto the branch of a sal tree in the posture adopted by mothers of all Buddhas. The child came forth from under her right arm. 7 days after his birth, again, in accordance with the destiny of mothers of all Buddhas, she died and was reborn again in heaven of the 33 gods. So Buddha are often depicted in art. Right, we talked about, this whole Africa problem. If Guatemala is what means Guatemala Buddha, how is it that Buddha is from India? Make it make sense. There's no Guatemala, there's no, representation of honoring Buddha's mother name by naming a city in India. His name, his mother's name. But it is here in America. It is here in America. Peace, Yashma, Vegeta Ill, Islam. It's so much here in America that we see it all the time and don't even realize it. Right? We see it all the time. We don't even realize where we are. Right? This is called jungle gardens. This is what they call it, jungle gardens. It says jungle gardens, Buddha statue. In 1936, Jungle Gardens founder E.A. McClenney, affectionately known as Mr. Ned, received a magnificent Buddha statue as a surprise gift from two of his friends in New York City after discovering the statue in Manhattan warehouse where it had sat unclaimed, meaning that no one who is a rightful heir of it claimed it from the old world. No one claimed it in the new world. None of the rightful heirs in the new world claimed it. Says, where it's set unclaimed for years, they shipped it to Mr. Ned by rail, hoping that it will find a suitable home among the Asian flora of his gardens. How do you have Asian flora in America? In a garden. Asian flora in America in a garden outside. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. See, these are things that you can't, you really can't argue. You don't have much of a fight. Because now we're talking about being able to have the same weather, the same seasons, where so-called Asian flora will be able to blossom and bloom here in America. Right, it says Mr. Ned created a beautiful shrine set within an opulent garden for the Buddha, which is said to be over 900 years old. The Buddha quickly became a focal point for visitors and still serves as a centerpiece at the gardens. In recent years, the shrine has become an active place of worship for local Buddhists who conduct a number of ceremonies there throughout the year, most notably on Buddha's birthday. On Buddha's birthday. And this is in the same city where they make and create the Tabasco sauce. That's dope. Talk Bills. It said, wow, there's a place called Jungle Gardens in Sarasota, Florida. It's on Grand Chic Pennington Bay. I'm gonna put the link down here. If anybody wanna come up, you can. So here it is. We have Buddha. And in our lessons, we have Buddha in our lessons in the Holy Quran of the Moorish Temple of America. But we still aren't something about the European psychology that has enslaved the minds of our people. When we're talking about the old world, so we're talking about old world India, old world Africa, old world Asia, we still think that is somewhere else throughout the world. But we're constantly being shown that it's right here at home. So as Moors, and I want you all to make sure that you always have, this reference. If someone asks you, well, what is a Moor? And what's the difference? What's a Moor? And you're able to give them, Moor is a descendant of an ancient Moabite, right? Born in America, but you're able to expound, because someone outside of the Moorish Temple of America, they're going to say, okay, yeah, that's cool. That's what Prophet Noble Drew Ali said. That's what your prophet said. That's what you learned in the temple. But do you have any other sources? Source up. We getting ready to get into this, what they call the 2025 year. In this 2025 year, Moors need to do more sourcing up than just regurgitating or reciting Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Moors need to do more of being the message that we bring. Moors need to do more of showing and proving. Because that's exactly what Prophet Noble Drew Ali did. He showed and proved. I'm going to put this link in the chat for everyone. Grab the link. Keep it. Grab that link. Right, it says Maureen, and this is from a dictionary of the older Scottish tongue. We're talking about the old world or the empire. We're going back to the old days, old time. Maureen, adjective, Moorish or Moorish race, dark, swarthy, a Moor, blackamoor, Negro. See how it's constantly changing, but it still means the same. So if anybody wants to argue with you, let them argue with the sources. You just put the sources out there. Let them argue. Tell them to go find a source that debunks your source. Before 1700, because this source is from up to 1700. So they're going to have to find a source that debunks your source up to 1700. Moorish of Moorish race, dark swarthy, a Moor, blackamoor, Negro. Now we know that another word for the Negro was the American Indian. That's something that Moors got to really stop playing around with. We know that another name for the Negro was the American Indian. The same way that so-called black people have an issue with Moors got an issue with American Indian. And it should not be. Because we know that the names and the titles have been changed over and over and over again. And then different epochs of time. It ain't that serious. So we talk about Moors and other titles like American Indians. We go to Title 29 of the Delaware Code. Where it says the Lenape Indian tribe of Delaware, referred to as the tribe in this section, has an unbroken history of hundreds of years of settlement and continued residency in the vicinity of the town of Cheswold in Kent County. Members of the tribes preserved, displayed, and manifested close cultural ties with one another by conducting themselves in such a social and economic manner so as to identify themselves as being culturally and ethnically distinct. Pardon me. The tribe can date their ancestral ties as far back as the early 1700s. The tribe was formerly known as the Moors. Here's another source. In the many decades of the 20th century, state documents such as driver's license designated the tribe's race within them. The Delaware Schools Code of 1921 provided that the State Board of Education could establish a school for the children of the people called Moors. As a result, 2 schools were built in the town of Cheswold, one at Fork Branch on Denny Road in Kent County. There has been unofficial statewide acceptance and recognition of the tribe for at least 125 years through a formal process of reviewing applicable state laws, historical and ethnological references, and previous actions of the General Assembly and state agencies. The Department of the State concluded by 2009 that the state has historically acknowledged the tribe. The Smithsonian Institute issued an annual report in 1948, which the tribe was referred to as Moors of Kent County, Delaware, and identified as a surviving Indian group of the eastern United States. What has changed? What has changed? Still the same people. We got to stop playing these semantics, because these semantics is what's hurting us at the end of the day. We'll put this link in there too. Peace, brother Sidney Wardell L. Welcome to the stage. Islam, brother.
I'm not the only one in here, am I?
Me and you. We the only ones on the panel. Nobody else came up. I'm gonna put the link back down in the chat if anybody want to come up. That's right, brother Darvis Baylock. We got to get out of emotions. We got to get our emotions out of the study. Just study. We got to get out of our emotions and just study. Because at the end of the day, it's the same. We're just exchanging different titles. Nothing has changed from the old world up until this day. We are still the same people. Whether we went by the title of Moors, or Moabites, or Mayas, Guatemalans. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said that we are the same people. He literally said we are the same people. Go ahead, Brother Sidney L.
Islam.
It's on. You want to share something?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm listening in.
It's on. All right. That's right. Talk Bills, the Uniting of Asia. The United of Asia. The Delaware Moors, a curious people found in Kent and Sussex counties, Delaware. There has been much speculation about the so-called Moors living in Kent and Sussex counties, Delaware. These people are usually swarthy, black hair, and black-eyed, though sometimes of a fair complexion. They are mostly farmers. They have their own schools, distinct from the general public school system, and they associate neither with whites nor with blacks. One theory has been that they are of the Moorish race and that their ancestors were Spanish Moors. And that their ancestors were Spanish Moors. When we going back, we see where the Rio Grande, right, the river goes all the way down from Colorado all the way down into Mexico. And it ends at Matamoros, right? Says their ancestors were Spanish Moors wrecked on the coast more than a century ago. Another tradition represents them as descendants of the Nanaco Indians. George P. Fisher, a lawyer long practicing in Delaware, writes to the Milford Herald to present what he regards as satisfactory evidence as to the origin of these people. He has been acquainted with these people all his life. Nor would a giant of the tribe, a giant of the tribe, a giant. And could these possibly be the same giants? Are these the same giants that are from the land of Canaan? We see the giants in the genealogy of the King James Bible, right? We see those giants. It's in the genealogy. Go back to the genealogy. You'll see the giants. Said that he was a giant of the tribe, erect and black hair at 75. He knew from childhood. When Mr. Fisher became Attorney General for the state, he was called upon to prosecute Levin Sockham, one of the race, for selling ammunition to Isaiah Harmon of the same race. The indictment having been found under a statute of Delmar, making it a misdemeanor to sell arms or ammunition to any Negro or mulatto. Harmon was a man of 20 years with excellent Caucasian features, dark chestnut hair, rosy cheeks, and hazel eyes. Mr. Fisher thought him the handsomest man in the courtroom. Nevertheless, Lydia Clark, a kinswoman of Aaron, retestified for the state that, according to family tradition, some years before the Revolutionary War broke out, when she was a little girl, their ancestors, a woman of Irish birth, owning and cultivating a farm in the Indian River. In the Indian River, 100 Sussex County, a few miles from Lewis, bought a slaver that was driven into Lewis Creek, a Negro slave who professed to be chief of one of the Congo tribes. Remember, this Congo ain't that Congo over there, it's the Congo here in Pennsylvania. Because that Africa is right here, northwest and southwest. Said he was driven to Lewis Creek, a Negro slave who professed to be chief of one of the Congo tribes. I mean, I'm not making it up. I'm just reading, so I just got sources. Islam, world class. Peace, 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 Brother Darvis Baylock. Islam, the king of the Moors.
Peace, 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 peace. You know you get me in a lot of trouble with that title. What's good though, mama?
All is well. All is well. They be hating on you when we call you king of the Moors. You know,
man,
you
listen, man.
You don't be letting up off of them. You just you gonna stand your ground.
I ain't got no other choice.
That's right.
Peace though, mama. I appreciate the bill though. I'm listening to the bill, man. Like I said, over here with my daughter, trying to get my daughter into this kind of shit. But I will say this, man. We start listening to these sources. We got to keep in mind the opinions of people that was writing about us. A lot of people have different agendas, and you got a lot of authors that's really trying to be genuine with the message they try to get across. But then when they come to getting funny and shit like that, people come and edit their work. They make them change this word or change that word. I think the issue was that term "more" as a nationality was dangerous. So they can give us, they can give us these different tribes that some say call themselves Moors as a tribal name, but it's so much more than that. And it's scary because a lot of these historians, they know this. You can't really deal with history without and not understand who the Moors are.
Yeah.
And if you don't mention the Moors, then most likely you got an agenda. Yeah. And some people that try to slip it out, and I mean, they get bashed, and a lot of careers got ruined because they want to tell the truth. So when it comes to these sources, we got to be careful who we deal with, especially when we start talking about who we are. We got to start weighing these sources and challenging them. We have to have a place to go at so we can get with like-minded people that challenge them also, so we really can get down to the truth. I understand we have a lot of different terms applied to us. We understand the names of the terms. I don't want to get into that, but we got to keep in mind, man, it was a reason why they hiding our history. They didn't just start reclassifying us. They were doing that for a while now. And we let these people, I can't really say they strange people, but a lot of them really wasn't here.
That's right.
And they reading sources of people that really wasn't here. If you look at the curriculum that we got in our education, literally the way they talk about these so-called Moors was in a negative. And they were supposed to. And sometimes we may get those sources, those writings from them people, and we start reciting some things that our enemies said about us. As if that's,
That's the truth, right?
We hear that term more. It don't just hurt the people that oppress us, though. They hurt the people that are getting oppressed too. And it's strange. I don't know why it does, but when you put your emotions inside of a term or an identity, and you find out that identity ain't quite what you was in ancient history, it's stepping on a lot of toes, and a lot of people put in a lot of work in it. So I understand why they don't want to change it. That means you got to get rid of all the shit you think you know. They got to dig a little deeper. So I understand how that term can affect people, or maybe we feel some kind of way. But when we get the emotions out of this shit, my nigga, we can really deal with history. Word, and that's what we got to do. Shout out to channels like yours.
Gratitude, brother.
Word, man.
Brother Doris always coming through, King of the Moors, standing on necks. That's one thing I appreciate about your honesty is, even when you ask, Darvis, where is, your sources, Darvis? You ain't got no sources, and then you provide the sources, and everybody just, they laugh and it's, oh, Darvis, that's not a source, but it is a source. It might not be a source that you agree with, but it's a source, and it's a real source. But I definitely appreciate you always coming through, always, sharing your thoughts, sharing the love, always sharing out, the link, letting everybody know that we're live. So many people, for people to really be who they say they are, 95% of the conversation is always about the Moors.
Word. And it should be, but it takes with a negative connotation, man. And a lot of times, because I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I think some people got agendas. You got to have the agenda. How can you call yourself this and don't? I mean, how can you not? That you ain't go deep enough in history. Once you go into history again, you cannot duck from that term. And most honest historians got to ask themselves, why they went through all these great lengths to hide that term?
Right.
Because you put that out there, that means you wasn't no slave.
Right.
I mean, your people was something else at one time.
That's right.
And I don't think we really want to be that. And I hate to say that, but I think this victim mentality has spread like a cold. And I think it became the shit now to be a victim. Instead of being honest, we fucked up.
We definitely
and learn from it.
We definitely are suffering from what Prophet Noble Ali called mental slavery. And I think a lot of us really, we hold on to this mental slavery and we want to have this, we were enslaved. And even when you're building with a lot of us in the community, right? So building with us in the Aboriginal American, American Indian and Moorish American communities and Israelite communities, we suffer so much from mental slavery. We want to hold on to that idea, even when we go and we show source after source after source after source, like when you do your genealogy and your great 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 grandfather was a slave, who was the slaves that he owned? Oh, he owned my great 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 grandmother and the children. They were slaves, right?
Yeah.
And then you look at it and you say, well, where's the other slaves? And there's no other slaves on, other than relatives on a slave schedule. Then you got to ask, well, hold on. You mean to tell me these was the only slaves? Yeah, because these slaves were property, because back in those times and during those days, the wife and the children were property of the husband, of the father. That's just the way it was.
Exactly. And listen, man, do you know how hard of a pill that is to swallow?
Man.
And don't get me wrong, we did a lot of crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of wrong stuff. But man, it is what it is.
Once
we accept it.
Yeah. It is what it is. It doesn't mean that your great 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 grandfather didn't love your great 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 grandmother and his children. That just means that his slaves is his family, because the word slave literally means a worker of the family. This was all business. This had nothing to do when we're looking at, for most of us in our genealogy, when we're looking at who we were and who the slave owners were, 9 times out of 10, when you go back to 1830, you go to Carter G. Woodson's census, because those 2 books that he came out with in 1830, those were census. Those wasn't just some books that he came out with. No, those were it's 1830 now. We know every 10 years it's a census, right?
Yeah.
So he conducted a census in 1830, and with those 2 books, and in those 2 books, we see who the free family, the free heads. Because if you are a free head, and then under you as the free head, you got your wife and your children, and maybe some other family members, nieces, nephews, cousins, whatever. Maybe they all living in the household with you. They're all a part of the domestic work of the household. So they're now on the slave schedules, and you are a slave owner, and you are a free head that's a slave owner. Everybody under you are free. So what are we talking about?
The lack of etymological skills. I think that's what it is.
It's just that simple at the end of the day.
Let me ask you a question, right?
Mm-hmm.
If say you really don't understand etymology, but yet you reading historical books.
You got a problem right there.
That's a problem.
Big problem. Big problem. You got big problem.
Especially if you call yourself a teacher.
Right. Especially if you call yourself a teacher. Got a big problem.
Word.
Because you're out here and you're teaching people, and as people, we're very impressionable. No matter who it is, we're very impressionable, especially when you begin to get out of your sleeping stage. You begin to wake up. So now you think everybody is on the same wave. You think everybody, gets along with everybody, and you think this is one big kumbaya family, and then you come and you realize, hold on, it's not this. Oh, well, such and such is a teacher, and this one is a teacher, but this teacher is more convincing, so I'm just going to listen to what this one's saying. Oh, this one's saying that the Moors just stole and pillaged and stole from the American Indians and the average. So, oh yeah, I'm going to listen to this teacher over here. Now I got an issue with Moors. For what? When you got some of your ancestors was Moors.
Exactly.
Go do
What that make you?
Your genealogy. I guarantee you, in your genealogical records, you got Moors in your family.
Word. And if you really go back far enough, you also find out when they start calling your family so-called terms like Indians or nigger or Negro or black or colored.
That's right.
These terms have an etymological base to it. You can find out when they were created, when they was applied, who applied them, who even trademarked it. You can find out who trademarked these terms.
That's right. That's right. You definitely gonna find out who trademarked the terms. That's right. Peace, brother. Maurice Pennington Bing. Islam Moore.
Islam.
Welcome to the panel. You got mute.
Islam, Tiki, how you doing?
I'm well. How you doing?
Islam. Didn't I unmute already?
Yeah, you're muted.
I'm well. I got a big lag going on. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. So, what you think about the bill?
Man, you know, one thing is it's very important to teach our people the truth about themselves. I got a big lag. It's
big lag. Go out, and then come back in.
All right, let me go out. All right.
Brother Sidney Wardell Ill, you still quiet in the background. What's going on?
How's your week been?
It's been well, and yours?
Still just trying to make it do what it do, and asking Allah to continue to bless me and keep me safe.
Indeed. What's going on? How's Charlotte, North Carolina doing today?
Wow. Charlotte is still Charlotte. You know, still
Queen City.
The throne of Queen Charlotte. Still Charlotte. You know, still confusion in the air.
Confusement?
Yes, ma'am.
Uh-oh. I said confusement in the air.
How are things out in Carbondale?
It's going well. It is going well. I can't complain. Pennington Bay, you back?
I'm back. It's still Islam seekers. It's still like a bunch of. It's a big lag.
You got lag?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because we're connected in our string yards or what. I don't know.
It seems right on time to me.
Yeah, I mean, I can hear it. It's clear to us, but he might have a lag on his end. But yeah, it's clear on our end.
Yeah, everything is doubling up. So like everything y'all saying it twice.
Oh, that means that you have another window open. You might have it open on YouTube as well.
Yeah, when you go to StreamYard, you gotta pause the your YouTube thing.
Yeah, normally if I'm on StreamYard, what I'll do is I'll just mute my YouTube, but I'll still have my YouTube playing, but I just mute it out. Yeah, he probably got a YouTube window open as well. Can you hear us now?
Islam, yep, that's what it was. I had the YouTube window open, so I just closed that.
Yeah, when you said it's doubling, I figured that's what it was.
That's exactly what it was. Islam.
Islam
is a great build. I mean, man, we got to teach the people who they are, and then we got to combat all of the European psychology about who we are, that's so it's always a great bill.
Islam.
Islam.
You know, for
Indeed.
me, you know, it's a when you know they try to separate us from like I was listening to you earlier. I couldn't come on quite yet, but you was telling the people like, man, look, we are those Mayans, we are those Indians, we are all those people. You know, like we are one people. The Prophet Noble Ali, he teaches us. As a matter of fact, he got a whole chapter in the Holy Quran of the Moorish Temple of America, where he shows that all the Asiatic people all over the world are one people. You know, and so that's you know, we like to separate in the world, but we got to start. It's time for us to come together. You know, so, you know.
Facts.
Great.
You know, and I think that's our biggest issue.
Yeah.
Separation.
Yeah. You know,
I call myself one thing, you call yourself something else. Queen call herself something else, and we act as if we ain't the same people.
That's right.
Yeah.
We've been given these damn terms, and these terms was like poison, and it separated us from each other. We started building walls around ourselves.
Exactly.
But if we ever go and knock these fucking walls down, take down these fences, we realize we're not just the same people. We talk about the same thing.
Man, listen, Mo, that's the truth, man. If the truth ever been spoken before, like I was forced to really bear witness to, you know, how much this separation impact us. You know, like, you know, I grew up gang banging in the streets, and you know, like even the fact that the gangs are separating at war with each other, you know, they didn't choose that. That was chosen. That was an act of European psychology. You understand what I'm saying? You know, especially like where we from in Chicago, you got people and folks, you know, everybody running around. Hey, what's up? What's up, folks? What's up, folks? You know, there's nothing in their literature that say that though. That was something that was given to them by Chicago Gang Task Force. Same thing with the people. You know, I did time in federal prison. You know, in federal prison, everybody's separated by where you from. They didn't choose that. You know, that was the special investigation in there, the SIS who decided one day to say, hey, you know what, we want to separate them. You know, so these are acts of European psychology, because one thing, just like you just said, as soon as we stop acknowledging the walls that really are illusions between us and we come together, they don't stand a chance. They don't want to compete with us like that, though. You understand me? They don't want to compete with us. The same thing happened with the Moors in 1492 in Spain. You know, every single solitary state in Spain, you know, wanted to have their own Khalifa. They didn't want to come together. While the Spain was coming together up under King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, they came together and fought the Moors who had separated in the world. You know, so
and they were Moors.
And they were Moors. Say that then. You John, say that. You know, so yeah, you're absolutely right. As soon as we come together, man, even the apes in the movie knew that together the monkeys were strong. You know, the Moors we need to recognize that together we strong. You know, so yeah, definitely an incredible topic. Again, I look at it, what you say, you know, this African problem. Man,
indeed.
How many years, how many decades have some of our greatest minds contributed to proving that we were African and that all of this just, you know what I mean? Just how much time, effort, and energy has been committed to this, giving away of our true identity.
That's right. And going back to Congo, Pennsylvania is older than Congo and so-called and what's called Africa today. Yeah. How do you have?
Same thing with Angola. There's Angola in Louisiana, older than Angola over there.
Angola is older here than it is over there.
Exactly.
You know? So how is it that we continue to find these older remnants of these places? You know, even the word Guatemala itself, right? Guatemala is the breakdown of Guatemala, right? Which is the mother, Maya, the mother of Guatemala Buddha.
Buddha, that's right.
How is it that you have this Guatemala Buddha that's supposed to be from India, but you got a whole state here in America named after him and his mother? You got a people named after his mother here in America. Make it make sense, because it's not, the math is just not mathing. It ain't mathing.
Like when man sick and we divide ourselves. There's a Guatemala here and a Guatemala there. Is it possible that the people over here went over there and named the place Guatemala?
Come on now.
Ain't nobody ever thought of that?
But
maybe it's the same people.
But it'll say, you know, but for many of us will agree that, you know, the Algonquians left over here and went over to Europe and established kingdoms and
all over the world.
It's okay for us to accept that, but then when we say, well, you know, we left here and we went all over the world to set up shop, and we see it when we leave here. We see it in the food system, right? The food systems that's grown all over the world that's indigenous to here, right? We see everything being here, but at the same time, we want to say, okay, no, we not no Moors, because, you know, the Moors came. How do you think why was the Moors accepted when they left Spain and came back over here? Because they came back home.
Islam.
You think somebody just? I mean, I was just reading the article where it talked about the chief amongst the Moorish people, right? Who also later on, there was another chief who said that he was from the Congo tribes, right? Here in America. Now, and this Congo is not too far from Delaware. Congo, Pennsylvania, and Delaware is not too far from each other, y'all. Literally, it is not that far at all. But you mean to tell me that the Congo chief came all the way over from the other side of the world, and he didn't come from Congo, Pennsylvania? Something is wrong with that. When you really believe in your mind that this chief who said he was a Congo chief came from Congo over there and not Congo up the street, the Congo, Pennsylvania.
Islam. Islam.
Word, that's like moving out your house as a man, leaving out your pop's house and going somewhere else to start having kids and populating that area and become successful. And later on act as though y'all ain't the same people.
Right.
That's the same issue we're dealing with right now.
That's the issue. That's the Negro problem. That's this African problem. We are stuck on this Africa. And so more, I started out with, I went into chapter 48, verse 5, where it says that, you know, it's still much wisdom to be learned, right? Amongst the descendants of Africa. Now, it doesn't say that we're Africans.
That's right.
And that's the issue, the reading comprehension. And so for so many years, you got to think about it. And the Moorish Temple of America, for so many years, we can go all the way back at least to, we can at least go back to the 40s, right? Because in the 30s, we still kind of knew that we wasn't no Africans, right? You know, even if I wouldn't even say that. I would say all the way up until like the late 50s going to the 60s, right? We didn't have this we're African thing with us. That was something new. That was with this Back to Africa movement, this Black Caucus, right? The Black Caucus movement. That's when this whole Africa thing came about. Because we wasn't calling ourselves no Africans. I mean, we wasn't even calling ourselves black. Those was fighting words.
Shit, especially not down here. We started listening to our kids. And our kids are going to these schools that ran by these strangers and start telling them things. And they start accepting it and bringing it back home.
Right.
And I'm talking about, listen, it was to the point where they start getting such high marks from learning this so-called lie or the misunderstanding to where they had status in those schools, and they came home and they look at us as if we just was ignorant.
Right. Right.
And we start debating back and forth with our own kids. And to the point we start, you know what? Fuck it, you right. And the kids start running with that. That's when that thing happened in the South. And I'm talking about this was like the
90s.
80s. I'm talking about the 80s. Before the 80s. In the 80s, when I was going to school, man, that was an insult.
Right.
You know, when I never forget, right? Because for a long time, none of these type of things didn't matter to me. You know, I spent a lot of my life just not really paying attention to the things that really matter. So when I did start to study self, I remember talking to an elder, and he told me about when the movie Roots was first played in the theater, and how it brought awareness to how bad slavery actually was. Now, with that same awareness came also a blindfolding at the same time, because now everybody thinks that all of our ancestors were slaves, think that all of our people came from this particular historic background, you know. So then here comes now the Prophet Noble Ali came before that, but you know the Prophet said it. He said that people was going to forget, you know, him and why he came and what he taught. So the Prophet Noble Ali came and said, "Hey, our flag is over 10,000 years old, and if our flag is over 10,000 years old, that means that the history of our civilized activity on this planet is over 10,000 years old. And there's no, you know, none of this thing that we see in America that we consider to be the United States of America, to be the history of America right now, is 10,000 years old. But America has existed under our rule for over 10,000 years. So now, if we are not going back at least that far, taking a look at ourselves and seeing ourselves in history, seeing that, hey, you know what, we got laws that we enacted that is older than the European nations. But at the same time, we letting the European nations tell us that, hey, y'all come from Africa, and then they want to tell us where Africa is. And you like all of this is a result of our people accepting the teachings of people who don't give a freak about them, accepting the teachings of people who would love to see us separated and remain separated from our history. Because when we know what we did, we know what we can do. We know what we're capable of. You understand what I'm saying? So this is a deadly situation, especially when we sending our children to schools and they being taught out of textbooks that's full of this crap. You know, so yeah, it's for me to be a full-grown man before I even found out these truths. That's sad enough. You know, for me, that's sad enough. Like, I wish I would have knew when I was a young person. I wish I could have avoided, you know, because I was a part of that African, you know what I mean? I was a part of that. Like,
we all was.
Yeah, you know, like
man, I went to the same shit too, okay?
Man, we spent hours and hours and years studying this crap and committing ourselves to this history that's false about ourselves. You know, so
yeah. That's right.
Yeah. And then, you know what really is crazy too, man? We realize just how deep the lie goes. We call these people European, they ain't even Europeans. Anybody in Europe that was about some anybody in Europe that had some really going on was from America. That's why they call them more.
Indeed.
Teach the lesson.
Indeed. What's going on, Brother Barnzell? Islam, brother.
Islam. Peace and love to the panel. Hey, praise Allah. Honest to a divine prophet. Honest to you here, Empress, and all of you here on the panel. Brother
Islam. Welcome back.
Peace, Islam. Peace of God.
Yeah.
Brother Baylot. Hey, this is the American Express going on right here tonight, Islam. I've been seeing you, Empress, been tuning in. Me and my was, you know, building and demonstrating all type of few things, listening to the Sheikh ETC. And I tell you, you remind me so much of this conversation I had with my Guatemalan brother when you were speaking about this Guatemalas. And I had asked him about those natives that's in Salvador. And now this Guatemalan brother, he looks kind of like he's the Mexicans call him Chinese. They call him Chino. They call him Chinese. Say he more Chinese like. But when he shares with me about these San Salvadorians, he says, yeah, them look like the brothers. You know, he said a lot of them look like the brothers. And I find that real interesting, and it's exciting to see these connections. Islam.
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 So yeah, when they talk about, they look like so-called Chinese, it's talking about the folding of the eyelids, right? And that folding of the eyelids is not a it didn't begin in what we know today as China, because when we look at older maps, La China was right here, or the China was here in America.
Exactly.
And that small corridor between America and Russia on the other side we're going over, that at one time was all together. But now it's no longer all together. So constantly there's a constant wave of information that's either telling us half of the truth, parts of the truth, or just straight out lying. So when you look at so when the brother said, oh yeah, the sense of Salvadorians, oh yeah, they look like y'all, but me and my people, the Guatemalans, we look more Chinese. Then you should say, well, what about the Olmec heads? When you look at the Olmec heads and you look at their eyes have the same fold as what we consider to be the fold of the Chinese eyelid today. So you mean to tell me that those Olmec heads with those similar eyes, but it has the large nose and the large lips like us, those are what we call Chinese today? Ain't no way.
No. We call Chinese today are results of experiments that we was doing.
Exactly.
The reason why we curse.
Exactly. These experiments, and the experiments ain't stopped. They're still going on. They experimenting with the AI people now. Sometimes you might be talking to an AI and you don't even know you having a conversation with an AI. It may take you a while to even pick up that this is not a real person that I'm actually interacting with, because they got them out here on the street. A lot of times we don't even realize that they AI. But again, it's another experiment. You look at a lot of these. When you look at a lot of these, like I tell my husband all the time, when I moved out here from the East Coast and I moved out here to the Midwest, I always told him that the pale-skinned Europeans out here are different from the pale-skinned Europeans on the East Coast. So no matter if you up north or down south, they're not the same people. And so a lot of that's when I learned about the Cabbage Patch Kids and the train kids, how you had a lot of orphans from out of New York who was put on trains and brought out here to the Midwest and out west. And then you also had these Cabbage Patch Kids who were incubator babies, right? Now these incubator babies is the same babies of these the same train kids. These are incubator babies. So you had this scientist who was a German, who was a brother. He was a German. He was a brother. And he developed the test tube babies. And these test tube babies were being fully developed in incubators, and they had them on display in New York. They had them on display. And you could come and you can pick out, like if you go to they got the whole Cabbage Patch, the Cabbage Patch Kids Hospital Museum. You go to the museum, you used to be able to pick out your own Cabbage Patch Kid, what you want it to look like, and they will give you a birth certificate. So if you're my age and you in your 40s, you remember when Cabbage Patch Kids came out, because you had it. If you was a girl, you had a Cabbage Patch Kid. You definitely had a Cabbage Patch Kid, and when you got your Cabbage Patch Kid, it came with the birth certificate. But the other hand, right, because that was just for the commercial use. But on the other hand, these Cabbage Patch Kids that was really being created in these incubators were shipped out here on trains. And you can tell, because when you go back and you start asking them, well, about their great-great-grandparents, they can't go back. They can't go back far at all.
Slum.
But then when you start asking us, about our, fourth and fifth times, a lot of times we get stuck at 1870 census.
Islam.
Once you get past the 1870 census, you just like clockwork. You start picking up everybody. Unless someone in your family has already had all of the family records, when you got to go, you got to do it for yourself. Other than that, man, I'm telling you, once you pass that 1870 census, all those records begin to flow. You can see your family in every war. You see a family member there in every war. You mean to tell me that we were slaves, but at the same time we were in every war? That make sense.
Not only that, we own all the land.
Exactly. That part. So there's a lot that's not being said about, and there's a lot that has not been said about our history, and a lot of that has to be brought to the forefront more so than before, because there was what is called now the Great Reset, where, keep it all the way real, a lot of our ancestors gave up the secrets, gave up the technology. Because then when you look at us today, is no way possible. When we look at our minds and the way that we are able to just develop, no matter what industry it's in, we can come in and we just develop. There's no way that these people had us as slaves. It's impossible. These people can't even. It's been plenty of time where both of you and your coworker can get fired today, and you already got a plan, A, B, C, all the way to Z, on how to go and start making money, and they don't even know. They ready to kill themselves.
That's right.
Or unalive themselves. Excuse me, because this YouTube is censored. They ready to unalive themselves because they ain't got a job. But here it is. You already know how to go get it. It's no way. We're talking about two different mindsets. We're in a mindset of being able to survive and thrive. Not just survive, but to survive and thrive. But here it is. Something happened, and now they come out the window. The Great Depression again.
But you know what that speaks to, Seekers? It speaks to why strategically they actually promote and teach this type of, separation. They teach this type of divide. They want us to not connect with our own history, heritage, culture, science. You know what I mean? Creed, those things that empower us. Because they know for a fact that on a level field, a level playing ground, there's no competition. They can't compete with us. Even in for the most carnal things, they can't compete with us if we would just link up and come together. They couldn't compete with us if 35% of us was to come together. They couldn't compete with us. So it's so important for them to keep on, showing our people, that we are not, that we are not those ones who created civilization, that we are not those ones that created every science that they utilize today to prosper. It's important. It's important to them, and they'll do anything that they possibly can to maintain, what's going on right now today. They're going to make sure that they uphold this. Now it's on us to try to do what we can to get our people to see, like the Prophet Noble Ali said, that we are a people. Remember what the Prophet said: "Wake up, you sleepy Moors. Can't you see that you are people? You know what I mean?
Islam.
Islam, Brother Barnzel, you want to add any closing words before we close out?
Closing?
Oh, yeah, brother. It's 10:05 p.m.
Oh, man, I thought this was some of the retro days where we was going to be on here.
Oh, the retro days. Yeah, those was the
Where
retro.
You at? 10:05. Where you at?
I'm Midwest, Central Standard Time.
Okay.
Illinois.
Okay, my bad. This is 11 o'clock over here.
Uh-huh.
You know, Empress, they got me on this break, you know.
Oh, they got you on a break, so you ready to get it in, huh?
Yeah, I got time, you know.
Oh, you got time.
Kick it. Islam, I might have to go over there to the paradigm demonstration.
Oh, you got a lot of time. What you doing tomorrow? I need my lawn the leaves. I need the leaves raked.
Islam. I could be over there as early as you need me to be.
You got time. Don't tell me you got time.
Uh-oh. Hey, so look, you Moors really touched it. It's very important for us to learn that it was not no abusive, aggressive act of the pale-skinned European nations and how we lost our rulership in this land. And it's impossible. You know, when I was in the Dismal Crips as a youngster, I was in there at the age of 18. You know, I get on the yard. You know, I'm in one of them things, them joints. I'm on the yard doing my workouts. You know, the Europeans like, man, how do you guys get cut so fast? They're like, how do you guys get cut so fast? I don't understand. Look, this is when I finally got exposed to some real racism. I'm like, wow. I ain't never heard a mug just say stuff like that. Oh, you sometimes you always, how come all the black guys can jump higher? Like, I don't understand this. How come all the black people's families support them? You know, just they would ask me these things because I was more of an approachable guy, you know. And sometimes I wouldn't have no answer for them.
But you know something, Domo? It's real answers to those questions, though. It's real answers to those questions, and believe it or not, you know, they're rulers, and you know, they're the people. You know, they know the answer to these questions, and that's why, again, it goes back to why they promote us staying divided, why they promote, you know, us, you know, competing against one another rather than competing against them. They love to see us compete against each other all day long because they understand that we'll just come to a stalemate over and over and over again. Greatness versus greatness. You understand me? It's just going to be a stalemate all day, but it's going to have us fighting for years and years and years and years and years. Look how many years we done spent fighting each other, you know, just over, you know, the same Quran that we all read every day. You know, they don't want to compete against us, Mo. So they say, well, why do we jump higher? Why do we run faster? Because our body is so full of melanin producing melanocytes. Therefore, information is transmitted from our mind or our brain to other parts of our body a whole lot faster than it is in theirs. If I tell my body to jump, then my body responds a whole lot faster than their body does because I got melanin producing melanocytes, which are neurotransmitters all throughout my body. So it's only natural that I would move faster. And then if speed versus mass equals force or equals power, then it's automatic that I would produce more power. You understand me? Because I can move a whole lot faster.
You done brought it back to Newton on them.
No, Newton can't do this. Newton can't do this. Newton and Einstein tried to say that ether didn't exist because they can't interact with it. And the Prophet Noble Ali said that ether is not seen by mortal eyes. Plus, what else it does? It changes as conditions change. So if you want to study it, you constantly changing the conditions. This going to constantly change. You understand me? So no, they can't understand these type of things. We do. That's why we keep on competing with each other, and we come into stalemates. As soon as we turn our force against them, they don't stand a chance. How do these brand new people to this planet compete against master students? They can't.
You know, it's funny you say that. When you even look at sports today, their men are far less equal to our men, where they had to start to allow their men to compete against women.
Say that shit.
That's how bad.
Man.
That's how.
I know what these birds
are talking about. Something.
But these are all kids.
That's something different. It's
the truth though, and it's ignored. It's ignored because they got other political. These seekers, look, guess what? They got other political bullet points that mean nothing but take precedence over these things that matter. Mm-hmm. This is what really matters. They are actually letting their men compete against women because they can't compete against our men.
Right?
Okay, they can't, and they only could barely stand a chance against our women. Mm-hmm. You understand? But they do stand a chance.
Right.
You know, while these is the things that politically we need to be talking about. We need to be trying to elect people who want to stand against this type of thing. But while we keep on electing them, you understand me? They want to win. So they don't mind if their men say, hey, I am a woman. And then they could pass a bill that say that because they say they are a woman, they can compete against our real women. All right. But these is the things we need to be talking about politically. All right. Why doctors ain't raising hell about this? You understand me? Doctors know a woman is a woman. Ain't sending no man to go see no gynecologist. I don't give a freak what he said. You ain't doing it.
Where's the doctor at? What a doctor?
I mean, if you want to say it's a woman, when they start getting these gyno issues, then you send them to Pennington Bay going to shut up. But until then, like no, it ain't right.
Facts. Definitely. We about to close here. Anyone else with any closing remarks? We're gonna shut it down.
Say is, welcome back to the Empress, to the Master Student, our Grand Governess. You know what I mean? To one of the most powerful, strongest women that I know, Islam.
Islam. Gratitude.
Need you, and your instruction has been missed. You know what I mean? So, welcome back. Now paradigm shifting the podcast. Going to be like, all right, Sheikah. Let's get to it. Islam, let's get to it.
Indeed. Make sure y'all check out Paradigm Shifting the podcast. Put the link in the chat more so everybody can grab the link, follow you. Make sure y'all like and subscribe.
We don't do links, we don't do like, we don't do subscribe. All we do is we demonstrate the thought, put it on the ethers. It's going to resonate. So when it pop up, Just be ready. Just be on the lookout. Y'all see Paradigm Shifting the podcast. Y'all see the image with me, the Seekers, the brother Shay Rayil. You know what I mean? Y'all see the links. It's a platform open to everybody who want to help shift the paradigm from this divided consciousness to a omnipotent awareness. That's what we all about. All that other stuff, I don't even know where to find the link sheet.
Peace.
Gratitude.
That's powerful, man. And listen, man, I'm glad I got a chance to deal with other Moors, like-minded Moors, man, and I appreciate the opportunity. Miss L, I appreciate you, Queen. I'm glad to see you back at it, man. Do we have enough of these channels? At least everybody not aware of the channels.
Indeed. Gratitude, brother Darvis Baylock. I call him King of the Moors. He do not let down. He always standing on he a Moor. If anybody come for him, he gonna always say I'm a Moor. He gonna show and prove why he a Moor. That is Moors got upset because I started calling him king of the Moors, but he's standing on Moorish business all day. All day. Gratitude. Brother Barnesville.
Islam, Empress.
Islam. We closing remark.
All praises to Allah, honors to you all. Thank you for coming back and gracing us with this American history. I'll be over there whenever you need me to come and demonstrate the rake degree.
The rake degree, that's right. Indeed, yeah, gotta get these leaves up.
I have experience with the rake degree.
Yeah, it's long. I got a rake and I got the big trash bags, the real big black ones.
Hey, you want to set a fire?
It's long. I got gloves too. If you need gloves, I'm prepared for you.
It is it'll be my honor. Praise the Lord.
And so I'll see you tomorrow morning.
Right after Fajr?
No, not right after Fajr.
You sure?
You need the light. You need the sun up at least. So
all this light is love.
Wow, gratitude. So yeah, definitely more. Shout out to everybody who came through. Of course, Brother Sydney, Ill, Darvis Baylock, Pennington Bay, Barnes, Ill, Talk Bills, Hannah Jackson Bay, Vegeta Ill. Shout out to Brother Elwood Evans Ill. Who else came through? The World Class, my little big brother Miguel Bay. Who else? It was somebody else who came through. Of course, our brother Chairman, His Majesty Magnificent Ill came through. We also had, let's see, I Am That I Am 777. Peace and love, Moors. With that, we'll see y'all back here next week. We'll be live streaming tomorrow via Facebook for our Holy Night meeting at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you need more information, the information is on the ticker of the screen. For those who would like to give a donation, you can donate. For those who haven't already, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Get this information out. As Brother Darvis said, we need more channels like this. It is refreshing for Moors when we're on other panels to actually be able to just build with like-minded Moors. So we'll see you all back here next week, 7. I did 7:30 this week because Pennington Bay had ADAT class today due to the schedule for the holiday schedule. Want to make sure that everybody is getting that time with their families, but it'll be back to regular ADAPT class next week on Wednesdays. So definitely, y'all, make sure that you are here next Thursday. We'll be back on the Africa Problem series. We'll be going into part 2. Part 2, we're going to be going into some DNA. We're going to be tying in more of our own vine and fig tree, getting into the different colors of the fig and breaking it down, showing you all where you can find yourself in the story. As Brother Top Cats would always say, where you find yourself in the story. So with that, peace and love, y'all.